understand that, but there's a lot of situations where people are not aware of the U visa opportunity and are not.
I think that would be up to the county or district attorney, and it would be incumbent upon them to make those folks aware of it. And not only would it be incumbent, it would be in their best interest if that person was the witness or a victim in a criminal offense. Then why wouldn't you, as the county attorney, want to make them aware of that so that you could continue to pursue that?
Well, and we do. I think that's
my point
that's
exactly. It's not really an
good
issue.
point. But I still think that there's a lot of room for problems to be generated as a result of this language, as Senator Davis is pointing out. Now, let me ask you just finally a question about your comment that this is not Arizona style or not Arizona type legislation, and I understood you to say because in Arizona it's mandatory to inquire, whereas here it's only permissive. Is that your feeling that this is not Arizona style?
What this bill does is it establishes a statewide policy, and we have a patchwork now of how different communities do this. And the policy is that no local law enforcement agency can adopt a policy that would prohibit some law enforcement officer from inquiring about this.
Yeah.
So,
well,
that's different than the Arizona.
Well, then for those instances where the officers do inquire, where they exercise the discretion that we're giving them through this legislation, would you agree that would be, in a sense, Arizona-style legislation?
I would not,
well,
because there's no probable cause required under the Arizona statute. Here, they have to be lawfully detained. It's completely different. I know you would like to make it different.
No,
You'd like to make the case for it. That's been your argument all along, but I strongly disagree with you.
Well, I think that in essence, what the statute does, like the Arizona statute, is allow law enforcement, whether it's mandatory or permissive, to act as immigration agents, as immigration enforcement officers. Because anytime you cross the line and start inquiring about immigration status, you get into a very complex area of the law where even immigration officers get in trouble despite all their training, as I'm sure you're going to hear some witnesses testify, over their violation of people's civil rights, including U.S. citizens who were thought to be undocumented, but turned out to be documented, turned out to be here lawfully. So I do differ with you in that respect. I think this is, without a doubt, an Arizona-style legislation, and so that's why I'm very disappointed. When you came to El Paso, you told us over there that you would not let out of your committee any Arizona-style legislation. I really think this is Arizona-style legislation.
We disagree. What I would say is that Arizona requires verification. This bill merely allows for an inquiry. And in fact, when I inquired with the city of El Paso in the meeting that you ran, I said, what is your policy? It is exactly the policy that we're adopting here, that they may inquire if there is an investigation going on and someone is lawfully detained. That is what they told us in the meeting that you and I both attended. This is the city of El Paso's policy. That's what they said.
Those are I won't belabor the point, but
I mean, it is what they said.
No. I understand what you're saying, because it said that in the context of certain types of situations. But we also have made you aware of the lawsuit that was filed in El Paso, where a sheriff's deputy inquired about immigration status of a U.S. citizen taken off of a public bus, resulting in a civil rights lawsuit that had to be settled by the county at cost to the county. These are the circumstances that we're talking about here, and that you're going to hear about, that create the concern over this legislation.
I would agree with you that the sheriff and the deputy who were involved in that were acting outside of what is proper, and I think that's why the lawsuit moved forward. And that's why that person is no longer the sheriff in El Paso. And so I can't sit here and tell you that you're never going to have that. You all elected that person, Sheriff. I mean,
well, he's no longer the sheriff because he's deceased.
But it was an issue. It was an issue, and the appropriate action was taken to resolve that. And so you can't. I don't think it's good public policy just because you had someone who once did this, who was disciplined and sanctioned for that, that you should then, the solution is, oh, we'll never let anyone ask about this. I think that's a leap that I can't make.
Well, you probably will hear testimony of many cases, and I mentioned some in El Paso specifically in federal court, of police going into one of our high schools, Bowie High School, and inquiring about the students' immigration status. We had instances of the police going into our bars in one of our bar districts, inquiring about patrons' legal status, and it's not an uncommon
Senator
occurrence.
Rodriguez, I don't deny that any of those things happen, and I will sit here and tell you that I think they were wrong. And I don't believe that this bill in any way would authorize that kind of activity. And if I thought that, we wouldn't be moving it forward. It does not do that. And so we have a difference of opinion about that, but clearly that's not my intention. And clearly those people who were involved in that kind of activity were acting outside of the law.
Well,
and I share your outrage about that.
Well, listen, thank you. I appreciate your patience with me, but I would like to work with the other members of the committee, like Senator Davis, who are interested in tightening the language to ensure that we avoid as many problems as we can. I appreciate it.